We be fussing, we be screaming, but you the one I wanna lay beside this evening. I'm gonna come back even when I'm leaving. You give good love and I receive it. When you feeling down, I'ma sing to you. That ring on your finger got a ring to it. That's that real love, God-fearing love. It may not be how we dreamed it, but it's still love. Can we ever sit down? Talk to me nice, I'ma talk back, baby. You know how we get down.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome to the best marriage and relationship podcast on YouTube. This is Make Marriage Great Again, and it is your favorite married couple.
Let's start over. Sorry.
We can't start over. We're live. We're rolling.
My bad. I was looking at an important text, y'all. My bad. What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing, man? Hopefully y'all doing good.
My God. Did you just say stop and start over?
Yeah, I was trying to.
Yeah, no, there's no, this is real live, baby. We real life.
You ain't want to edit nothing out. You want to expose me. So
I'm not exposing you.
All right, come on.
I just need you to get with the program.
Okay, come on.
Praise the Lord. What's poppin', everybody? It is your girl, Ashanti, and it's my amazing husband, Julius, and it is Make Marriage Great Again. I hope that you have tuned in today, ready to dive into an amazing series. So it's Black History Month. As you can see, we have our, babe, what did you buy us? This is
Negro League. Negro League Baseball.
Negro League. And who do I have on?
Mine's the Kansas City Monarchs.
And I have the New Orleans, what is it, the Pelicans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see.
The Pelicans.
That what it say?
Yeah. And then I have a Thank Black Women shirt on. You see that? Thank Black Women, because y'all should be thanking us.
Is that the Pelicans or the Penguins?
I don't know. It's a bird.
I don't know. Y'all look it up. It's the Pelicans.
The Pelicans? Okay. Yeah, we got I got the Pelicans jumping off. And you got these when you and Zion went to the
Kansas City.
To the museum.
Mm-hmm.
The Negro League.
The Negro Baseball League Museum. It was so dope.
That's fire.
It was so fire. So much history and information and artifacts. It was fire. And
I'm glad we're talking about information and artifacts and all of that today, because we're going to go ahead for the next couple of episodes and we are going to take a deep dive into Black love.
Come on, Black love that's black.
And it's black. I'm black, y'all. And I'm black, y'all. And I'm black, y'all. And that's it, because it's February, it's Black History Month. We are celebrating both being black and beautiful, and we're going to celebrate the uniqueness and the power of Black love.
Love that.
Okay,
I love that
so
subject.
What we're going to talk about is basically how Black love has been resilient.
But before we do that, I need you guys to like, subscribe, and share
if y'all don't share this today, we're going to fight.
Just do that favor.
Let me get my coffee
like, subscribe, share, and invite, and all of this stuff, man, because I want you guys to get exposed to this content.
What he said.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about how Black love, why it has, and this is going to be a very aggressive word. But when you think of Black love, do you ever think of it as it being like a resistance against oppression?
You know, like that is brought to my attention, it makes all of the sense in the world.
Why?
But initially, no, I had never viewed Black love as a resistance to anything. Right. But now that that's brought to my attention, I can absolutely, see how it's a resistance.
I think it's important for us to understand, and you always say this, you really have to understand the history of a thing in order to understand the thing. And so after doing research for this episode, we found out that when we were enslaved, we could not be married. Mm-hmm. Like it was something that was not legal. It was not allowed. And so what families did was they were basically being married in secret. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is, earlier I had this aha moment of just thinking about how systemic everything is for Black folk, like how systemic and how ingrained some things that we do that we should be doing is ingrained in us. And I'm thinking about marriage. I'm thinking about how we had to sneak and get married and do these things because the oppressor was not allowing us. Why would we not be allowed to be married? Like, think about that for a second. Like, why would we not be allowed to join in holy matrimony. And it's because, and you guys are going to learn this over the next couple of episodes, marriage unlocks a whole lot, even biblically. We find that he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor from the Lord.
Amen.
Like there's
Amen.
so this marriage thing is being fought on so many different levels, really is specifically for black people. But when we were enslaved, we used marriage as a resilience, as to fight back.
Well, and I love that, because what it does is it shines a light and it illuminates just the term, even the term black love.
Yep.
And when you think about how, here in America, that's probably not a term in Africa. It doesn't probably compute over there.
Black.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But over here it computes, and when you start thinking about like why we would refer to it as that, and you start digging into the history of it, it starts to make sense. Like they're trying to stop us from joining together in a union, and how we, as resilient black people as we are, was like, absolutely not. You can try to put a stop to it in the open, but we've got ways
to do it anyway.
To do this
be unified.
Anyway. To be unified anyways.
And that's what's crazy. So it's really, at the end of the day, the reason why it was not allowed was because black people could not unite. And I think about 2025, and I had dinner with some of my girlfriends the other night, and we were talking about that's black people's kryptonite is being unified. It is something that we struggle in, is being unified with one another. And I'm looking at the core family unit of marriage, and how even that has been oppressed and not allowed and outlawed. And now it's almost systemically ingrained not to do the very thing that we should be doing. Yeah,
and it's like everything that we had to work through and go through in order to maintain a unity. Because you think about, they didn't want us to do it.
No.
And so how, we had ways of signifying that this happened anyways.
Yeah, like jump in the broom.
Yep. Even though y'all didn't want us to do it, we found a way to validate and substantiate our union, even without your validation.
Black people always find a way.
And we figured it out, and how we figured out also a way to maintain that
100%
right in your face.
And without you even knowing
that
we jumped the broom last night and we're married.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how you guys were trying to publicly divide us, and very dogmatic in the approach.
100%.
But how we still figured out a way to make it happen anyways.
Yeah.
This is amazing. This is black love. And when
it brings a whole new definition now when you start talking about black love on this magnitude.
It does.
Yeah.
And so now when you start thinking about black love in a climate that preaches and tries to teach division
100%
in a situation that's trying to divide and conquer, when you are able to see two black people
come together, fight oppression, fight what people have to say, really fight the law at that point, and still choose love anyway.
Yeah, and still choose love anyways, and still stay together anyways. And when you're able to articulate it in a way that I believe that we're doing, when you're able to provide real definition for it, what happens is it creates a vision. And my thought is, and my goal is that it creates a good collective vision, because vision governs behavior.
Yeah.
When people really know what black love is and how it stemmed and what they needed to go through in order to maintain it, it might govern people to want to actually have that.
That's so good.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
and
so
to want to
good.
be a part of that, because we're honoring it. Marriage, black love is a way to honor those who had to go through what they went through in order to love somebody.
Well, we talk about, the ancestors all the time, and I don't mean from a spiritual spooky, like I'm not conjuring up anybody.
No.
But I am remembering what the people that have gone before me, what their love had to endure.
Yeah.
Like what their love had to survive.
Yeah.
Like their love literally you had to love even in bondage.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Like I don't have to love in bondage.
And you had to love with the reality of you could get in trouble for loving.
So let's pivot. even in the civil rights era, so we have the enslavement era, and then we progress to the civil rights era. We still saw black love on full display. We saw Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King. You had Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz that were playing a very just critical role in sustaining, like, and I know we hear all the rumors about Martin Luther King and whatever. Being a pastor's wife, like understanding the emotional stability that we have to give black male leaders and how important it is for the marriage union when you are pushing a movement is.
Well, I love that. So, but let's just rewind just a little bit. Let's go back to, back in slavery times.
Okay.
And you're talking about black love, and you're thinking about the support, and the support piece. I want to start there, then go back to the civil rights. But the support piece. Imagine the strength that a lot of our ancestors were getting. Our ancestral men were getting from the woman who he is married to silently.
True.
After he was out in the field all day, enduring the ridicule and the shame and the abuse that he had to potentially deal with of the oppressor.
100%.
And when he came home at night, after everything that he went through,
he had a safe space.
Imagine, you know what I mean, how the black woman poured into him in those moments of despair.
Or they poured into each other, because let's be clear, black women were slaves too.
And also, not only were they slaves, they were potentially raped
and being made to nurse children and have children. I mean, so the whole enslavement era, the fact that love, it's love in bondage, and it still prevailed, and they still made a way for them to pick each other in a union and do it anyway. I think it needs to echo and resound in 2025 as to you Negroes getting married, and we're gonna get to that later on.
But stay in the slavery. You keep rushing out of there. I don't stay
because
in the
we have a limited
piece.
amount of time.
We only been in here for like about 7 or 8 minutes. We got time. So think about this. Think about two people married, and a man witnessing his wife being raped.
No, we don't want to. I don't want to think.
I know you don't, but you have to.
No, I don't have to.
Because what it does is it helps you understand black love.
I do. I cannot imagine watching my husband being beat on or killed in front of my face, and that's my husband, but the oppressor does not know, but I know that is my husband. Like I can't imagine the anguish and the pain of what that felt like.
And this is why I needed us to go there, because when we do the fast forward like you're wanting to do and get to the modern times, we can't even stick together behind some stuff that ain't even as deep as that was. We can't even get together over an argument. We can't even stay together over an argument.
Yeah.
We don't even understand and value one another to be able to see some of the things that we go through. You're talking about
husbands and wives.
Yeah. In today's day and time, some of the oppression that we go through, which, in my opinion, is still oppression nonetheless. So I don't mean to minimize it at all, but it's not to the fact of watching somebody, you know what I mean, like sexually assault your significant other, and
there's nothing you can do about it.
Right, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's like now, when you think about it now, we can't even really understand the oppression. It's not even on as major of a level as it was back then, and we're willing to disperse and divide.
Well, the reason why is because it's not. So I had a conversation the other day with one of my girlfriends, and she said, you're talking about people who came out of bondage. I mean, at the highest level, it is enslavement. It's you being held captive against your will, abused, beaten, killed, murdered, right? And so coming out of that, the reason why they were willing to have a union in secret, the reason why they were willing to have their love endure bondage, the reason why all of this is because of what they came from. Unfortunately, as we progress as a people, as everything gets, I'm not even going to say easier, but as we get more liberties, we tend to forget and get more detached from the struggle. And so it becomes more of a distant thing than something that's relevant in today's society. And so you have a society in 2025 that does not view or look at marriage as this black love revolutionary movement. And it's like, if you need to go back, and remember and study and see why black love is so pure, why black love is so important, why black marriage is so vital to the survival of black people.
So when you say that word remember, I love it because I look at it like literal, remember.
Like bring back together
again, remember. So it's not only a mental recollection, but it's also a present activation.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? To remember. And when you remember mentally, it helps you activate physically and presently.
It should.
To really be able to put things back together again and really move how, we could move this black love.
Imagine loving somebody so much that you are willing to marry them in private, risking your life, risking death.
Yeah.
Understanding that if the oppressor found out that you were married, they would kill your spouse, beat you as an act because you were being disobedient.
Yeah,
Imagine
or
loving somebody that much.
Yeah, and I bet you a lot of the separation that happened
was because they found out
they
was married.
that people had snuck and gotten married, and there was unions, and they needed to keep everything divided. So they would take somebody that was in Alabama and shoot them over to wherever. You know what I'm saying? Dividing families and things along those lines. And I'm going to tell you, I've had the opportunity to go to Africa several times.
Yeah.
And I've gone to Sierra Leone, Freetown, to be exact, specifically. And one of the things that they told me, I had conversations with dignitaries and leaders and pastors and stuff over there. And one of the things that they said is that they respected the British more than they respected us when we both were slave owners. And the reason why they respected them more is because they didn't divide them when they enslaved them. You know what I'm saying? They didn't divide them when they enslaved them. They came and they dropped them back off in Freetown. That's why it's called Freetown.
Okay.
Because this is where slaves were freed at. And so they said they respected them more because at least
they kept the family
units together. But us, we got, our ancestors over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not us, them. They got our ancestors over here
and they divided us.
Then started dividing us and sending us all over the place.
And so, we're staying but I am bridging the gap between how systemically that is still a reality.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when we say words like systemic racism, or I don't even think we understand, and some of us do, like how far back a thing goes as to why it's still prevalent in 2025. The people of the fairer persuasion have always made it a point to divide black families.
You want to get that point out so bad, you put an ED on the end.
I was upset.
You said always.
Always, meaning it ain't even finished. They have always, and that has always been their tool of destruction is division. To the point where you had Jim Crow, you had Section 8 housing, all of these things have come in to do nothing more but to divide, pull the man out of the home, pull the black man out of there. Like it's been systemic, it's been calculated. And even right now, you're dealing with, and I'll just throw this out there, black people are the least married people in the United States. We are the lowest percentage of any culture to be married. Why is that? Because systemically, it is ingrained. Like marriage is not ingrained in us. We have these ancestors, these beautiful ancestors that fought for black love, fought for their union to the point where they were jumping the broom. Y'all jumping a broom at y'all's wedding thinking it's cute. No, it's not just cute. It literally signified us being married, and we knew our union, but the oppressor could not know our union. And now you're dealing with people, and we're the lowest percentage of people married in the United States as of 2023 were black people. And I think about our ancestors who had to sneak, and now you don't have to sneak, and nobody wants to be married.
Wow. You think like it's a direct result of a mental conditioning?
100%.
that
It's trauma without us even knowing it's trauma. Shout out to my aunt Doreen Lowry in Philadelphia, PA. She calls it post-traumatic slave syndrome. She's a professor in Philly, and she taught us that years ago.
She did.
As to why we get nervous when the cops get behind us, as to why we even do certain things. It's post-traumatic slave syndrome. No, you weren't enslaved, but it etched your DNA.
Yeah.
To the point where you do things and you don't know why you do things. It's because you are a descendant of a slave. We don't even know young black men, and I love black men, but right now they don't even know that the reason why they're not getting married is because it's post-traumatic. Like, they don't even know that the reason why they don't want to get married or don't want to be in a union or use excuses as I don't have enough money.
Well, we don't go deep enough. And so what we do is we just utilize some examples that we've saw or some results of marriage that we've saw
and use that as the reason why
I don't want to get married now.
Instead of going back to the origin of black love and black marriage.
Correct.
As far as the United States go. Now, were
Correct.
they being married in Africa? Absolutely.
Yeah.
They had their own rituals and their own marriage ceremonies. I'm talking about when we as a people came here, it was illegal.
Yeah.
We were not allowed to be married. There could not be any unification at all.
Yeah. And it's almost like, unfortunately, over the course of time, mentalities change. Thought processes change, perspectives change, and it's like you get further and further away from the origin of a thing
100%.
as time goes by.
As you progress, as you get better, unfortunately, why you did it begins to fade away.
And I think, I think one of the things that we need to pay attention to when you're talking about black love and we're talking about the origin of this thing in slavery and how everything they had to go through in order to maintain it and how now we're so many years removed from that.
Yeah.
And while it could potentially appear as if we're doing better as a people,
come on.
are we really doing better as a people for real?
No, because we're still the least married in the United States.
And so if your love has been diluted, are you really doing better? Because they were able to love each other in the midst of some wild craziness, like going through hell and high water.
I mean, just think about black love. What you're saying is so cold. Black love, from what it used to be to what it is now, it's night and day. It is nowhere near the same.
No.
You understand that marriages was 40 and 50 years.
Yeah.
And I know y'all gonna be like, yeah, but there was stuff going on and and they put up with all kind of stuff. Shut up.
They
Just
did.
for 1 second. I'm gonna need you to shut up and understand that there was still something in that I believe that we've just gotten away from. And I'm not talking about sitting around and being abused. So please don't turn this into that. But there is something that we have gotten away from when it comes to black marriage and black love.
Yeah, I think like time doesn't have to pull you away from the why. It doesn't have to pull you away from the origin. It just so happens that it often does. But what could happen over time is you could get rooted and grounded in your why. You could get rooted and grounded in your origin. And then as a result of that, you could become stronger. Because there are some things that we've learned over time that has tainted our black love. There's some things that we've been exposed to. There's some stuff that has happened that has messed us up as it pertains to our black love that has caused it to be diluted.
Yeah.
But also, there are some things that we've learned over time
100%.
that could help strengthen
100%.
black love if we would learn how to eat the meat and spit out the bones.
Come on and eat the meat and spit out the bones.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so what we're doing is we're taking the bad and applying that to our unions and sometimes leaving out the good.
Right.
So now you have a love that's diluted. You know what I mean?
When they say, "Don't throw the baby out."
Love like this.
Okay,
ain't that what Common said? But I think, man, it's like we gotta really like take a look at this and not just gloss over stuff so quick. We say black love as a hashtag.
Or we say black
more,
love as just two black people falling in love.
It's
like,
more,
no.
much more than a hashtag or two black people getting married.
Wow.
Because a lot of black people are getting married under the pretense of white love and not black love.
Dun 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 dun. What?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So
Because
what's white love?
Because here's what I think it is. And I'm not saying that this is across the board, because
Okay.
that just happened to come out. Like, I didn't even think about this before the podcast, but it just flowed off my tongue.
Well, let's go.
And what I think is like, when you think about the reasons why black people get married, and then the reasons why white people get married,
Okay.
I think there's a deep dive into that. And then you can kind of really understand, you know what I mean, what's white love versus what's black love. I don't want to dive into that on this episode.
Not on this episode.
You know what I'm saying?
But we can touch on it maybe the next one.
I do think that there's something there between black love versus white love.
Jesus.
But
don't say versus, just I know what you're
black
saying.
love and white love. But I think like we have to remain true as black people.
Yeah.
To who we are,
100%,
and why we do what we do.
I think it's important.
But what we have a tendency of doing, because we're over here in America, is we have a tendency of taking on white strategy and white mentalities and incorporating that into our black lives. And we've done that for a super long time. And I believe that has played a part in us dividing ourselves. Played a part in us discriminating against our own selves, because we've come to learn and understand and develop a desire for the way that white people are doing things, which has caused us to get away from the reason why we do what we do
and why we should be doing what we should be doing, which is getting married, staying married, fighting for black marriages, because the ramification of us as black people not being married is systemically hurting us as a people, period. Mm-hmm. And all you have to do is ask yourself, why would it ever be outlawed, or why would we ever not be allowed to do a thing?
Yeah.
That should make you fight to want to do it, because there was a purpose for us not being married, and us falling still into of not being married. It is hurting us as a culture. It's hurting us as a people. I want y'all to remember that we as black people are the least married people in the United States of America. The melting pot of the world, we're the least married.
And I think we have to love ourselves enough, not just ourselves personally, but ourselves as a people. To get to a point to where we're able to ask the question, does the collective reason outweigh the personal reason?
Well, that would mean you would have to care about black people as a whole and not just yourself. And so now you're talking about something.
Does the collective reason to get married outweigh the personal reason? We live in a very selfish society where a lot of people would argue and say, no, the personal reason outweighs the collective reason. And what I would suggest is that if that be true, then I believe that mentality plays a part in why we're divided amongst ourselves.
And the collective reason, it impacts your personal. Duh.
Yeah.
If we were collectively as black people to get on anything at the same time on one accord, we would be able to see a whole lot of stuff shift and change.
And it would affect us personally.
Don't.
Yep.
It would absolutely affect us personally if we all decided to get married.
Yeah.
If we all decided to spend money the same way. If we all, just like our ancestors, this is why certain things worked back in the civil rights era. That's why boycotting worked. That's why all of these things worked, because you had a conglomerate of black people that made the decision to do the same thing.
Even if it goes against what I personally want in the moment,
it benefits me
it's
later.
It's going to benefit me in the end. It's going to benefit us in the end. And I think this is true when it comes to black love too.
And when we say black love, we mean black marriage.
Absolutely. So y'all, this week,
I just want to leave y'all with this. I want you to understand that black love was never just about romance, but it was about, and has always been about, survival, endurance, and legacy.
Survival, endurance, and legacy. Black love is about survival.
It has always been.
Endurance and legacy.
It has never
Wow.
it has never been just about romance, but it has always been about survival, endurance, and legacy. And when the next time you out here dating and you looking around, I want you to keep that in your mind. If you are a single man or a single woman, that there are people that literally died for you to be married. They died for you to be married. So,
Wow.
Make marriage great again. It's the best relationship and marriage podcast out.
We coming out swinging.
Happy Black History Month. We love y'all.
We
See
love y'all.
soon.
Like, subscribe, share. Make Marriage Great Again podcast on YouTube. MMGA podcast on IG. Make Marriage Great Again podcast on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
Hit us up. Peace.
Love y'all.